Hello, my name is Ivan, and I'll be explaining how I got my AIs to work in in my UE4 Honors project. So I have a few variations of the enemy AI, though two main sets. Ones that are stationary and chase the player, and others that patrol and chase the player on sight. So how I set so if you were to move close to one of the AI, they would detect you and they would try and follow you. Same would go for one of these AIs. And then once you break line of sight, the patrolling ones would go back onto their patrol, while stationary ones would go back to where they would. And so the way I did this is by using a sense using a sensor component to allow the AI to sense where the player is through either sight, sound, or other means. And I set it up so that when the when the when the AI see the player, it would set it so that the AI would move their change their position to follow and chase the AI, chase the player until they either broke line of sight, or if they were defeated. For the patrols, I set up I believe it was a function that when they got to one of their set points along their path, it would change some booleans so that it would detect whether or not the AI was on it will detect which part of the path the AI is at that point. So from there, I would have those booleans active when one of the booleans is true, it would start moving over to the next one along the line, and when moving the actor around in the blueprints. Then when it's all finished, it would return back to the first point and start over again. Only with a custom event would it change this pathing so that it would break from the path. It would go patrol and go back to the path to the patrol point that it was originally going to. Also of note is that I have two variations, but two main variations of each different form, with there being two patrol versions, with them either having 2 patrol points or 4, as well as having different looking enemies for different strengths. So the big enemies can do quarter of your health if you are hit, which they do by checking if they are close enough to, if they are in a hitbox, well, if the player is in their hitbox to check if they can attack, and if they are, they'll perform an attack which deals damage unless the player gets out of the hitbox. They take a while to take down, and so they are much tougher than some of the more regular enemies, which whilst they perform the same, they do much less damage overall. And they are easier to kill. I've also set up some enemies so that if you are close enough to them, you can see what they are potentially saying. They're all through, and they can be seen through a bunch of different parts of the level. Final enemy type I've got is the boss enemy, who has a much larger radius just for following the player. Well, a stationary enemy. However, he also deals about as much damage as the larger enemies. So that is my enemy AI for our UE4 level.